Hey, how are you guys today? Today is Monday, March 3rd, 2025. A couple days after this past Friday, we had the President of the United States and the President of Ukraine get into it in the Oval Office with the Vice President of the United States as well, about the situation down there in Ukraine. But let me go through a timeline about all this hypocrisy on every side and every issue, about how people are just, I guess they're blind and whatever. I'll go through a timeline. The timeline begins as follows. Today, the random expert on nothing. This is what the timeline is, okay? The timeline is about 2020. We started 2020. I know it's called COVID-19, but it started 2020 when there's a shutdown around the world. There was a coronavirus. Everybody around the world was affected, and everybody was locked down for a certain amount of time, some more than others. We get it. But the whole world was telling you can't go outside. We talk about freedom. We talk about democracy. You can't even go outside. There are people who died. I know you're insensitive, but there are people who died with that virus. I understand that. But whatever. And during that virus, we could call it emergency, but whatever. We had an election, and in the United States of America, and Joe Biden won the election. Okay, but while he wins the election, there is a shutdown. You can't hug your friend. You can't. It was started way before him. Again, started way before him. We understand that. I'm skipping interesting events. I get it, but this is the international events that I was seeing, because the United States election is an international event. I get it. There was one side that was being a baby. Donald Trump's side was being a baby. Let's be honest. We could say there's something sketchy. There's always sketchy stuff. But he was being a baby. And then January 6th happened, and I think he was wrong. I think there was obviously stuff that came out years later with the DOJ, their own DOJ, the Democrat DOJ. But whatever, we get the point. You shouldn't have gone inside. You're not supposed to go inside. We get it. Then he takes over. Let's call it, because it's January 20th, let's call it February. Already by June in 2021, they're already, right away, literally like 4 or 5 months later, they didn't wait so far, there were 5,000 rockets shot at Israel, and Hamas and Israel get into a two-week bombing event. Let's be honest, it was rockets versus airplanes. It was ridiculous. But everybody forgets that. No one even cares about that. And then we find out that Joe Biden was screaming at who? He was screaming at the Israeli side when 5,000 rockets were shot first. Okay, there we go. So there we go. So the other side goes, okay, we have a we have a president. We can do whatever we want. Then in August of 2021, the U.S. was pulling out of Afghanistan without weapons, and the Taliban takes back over, and they take it back over, starting from zero. We find out now with the Doge that they were actually funding the Taliban, but all our weapons, the United States weapons, are on the Taliban's hands. And then we have Tony Blinken being an idiot and say they don't know how to maintain it. You got to be stupid. Out of millions of people, there are hundreds of people that that are handy with stuff and know how to fix things. Okay, I just don't. It's pathetic. So okay. So that's August 2021. Not so far after, I'm not sure it was February 26th or February 27th. In 2022, Russia invaded Ukraine. Okay, Russia's at full. I don't know what Russia's doing. Again, there could be some fault of this, some fault of that from the U.S., from Ukraine. But at the end of the day, Russia's the main problem. Russia was being a little pariah. Let's be honest. What are you doing? Oh, I forgot that there was a shot about the virus that was taken out, and the whole world said, either you go out and take the shot, or you can't move and you can't do anything, and you have no autonomy to your body. By the way, and then Russia invaded Ukraine. So when Russia invaded Ukraine, what I remember is a lot of the time, there was a little bit here and there, the virus didn't exist anymore. The shot didn't exist anymore. But what happens if you look at it? If you look at what happened, you see the Canadian Prime Minister, you see all these countries talk about democracy versus dictatorship. A dictatorship. I don't want to hear about dictatorship and freedom. Obviously, Putin did was pathetic and wrong. Millions of people are dying, are being displaced, and their life is changed upside down, and people are losing their kids. They're killing civilians all the time. Okay? And not just civilians, they're killing soldiers that are 18 to 30 years old, left and right. These people are dying. It's pathetic. And Russian soldiers, too, are going with by force. They're getting drafted. They're getting thrown into a war that they don't want. Nobody wanted, except for, let's be honest, except for the leader of Russia. He wants more land. So we sit here, we talk about freedom, and when you didn't allow us to be free for 2 years virtually. So I don't want to hear about freedom. I don't want to hear about freedom and democracy and everything's on the line. No. You're just on one side. Let's be like that. And then this war, if I recall, for about a year, not for about a year, for about a month, maybe 3 months to make you guys happy. There were Ukrainian flags all over the streets and marches for them. Okay, understood. They are the weaker country. They were attacked first. Understood. But then it died. No one cared about that. That war was like nothing going on. And then Americans are saying, and then America funds it, and then this funds it. But everybody's saying like it started to come out that Americans are not happy about being funding when we got problems here. We got $100 billion. We got a $90 billion package going. We got a $40 billion package going. We're not happy. We're like, we got problems with inflation. We got problems with affording food. We got problems with homelessness. Americans started to complain. But then a couple months, I wouldn't say a couple months later, a year and a half later, October 7, 2023, Israel gets attacked by Hamas, or the Palestinians. Let's call them the Palestinians. It's not really Hamas, it's Palestinians. Gets attacked by the Palestinians at Gaza. It's crazy. It's like, it's 9/11. It's 9/11 relative to here. It's their 9/11 by far. They've been attacked. Suddenly, you don't hear Justin Trudeau and you don't hear the Europeans talk about democracy. They just condemn it. They don't talk about democracy. They don't talk about freedom. They don't talk about anything. They just say condemn. And then 2 weeks later, they're asking for a ceasefire when Israel's bombing the garbage out of them in Gaza. And then that lasts a year and a half, virtually. But then there's an election in November of 2024, which is a year later, October, 13 months later. But these wars are going on hard. They're going really hard, these wars. Trump gets in the election, and Trump says he's going to have a ceasefire. He's going to stop both wars before he's in office the first day. Well, it wasn't that easy as he thought. Especially Ukraine and Russia wasn't easy to stop. And that's a bloodier war, but no one talks about it anymore. And people started talking about it again, but I'll get to that in a second. The Israeli-Palestinian war suddenly have a truce because both, especially one side, started getting a little scared of Trump. So there's a truce right now. The war's not over, but there is a truce. Who knows how long that's going to last? We don't know, but there's a truce. So it wasn't like he said, but you know what? At least the fighting is done for now, and we'll, whatever. Let's not talk about the situation. So we get back to Ukraine. We find out that Donald Trump finds out, and we all find out, that not only Russia doesn't want a ceasefire, not only they haven't spoken to Russia in 3 years while this war is going on with millions of people dying on each side, and then Zelensky says, oh, it's not millions. And by the way, the other day we find out that 41,000, if you look on Google, it says 41,000 Ukrainian soldiers have died this whole war. It's just ridiculous. Everyone knows it's like hundreds of thousands, and we all know the Russian side, it's crazy amount of numbers too. But we see and we find out that all this whole time, suddenly people are saying Ukraine is winning the war, but 20% of the territory is taken over by Russia. So I don't know what winning a war is. I don't know if it's personnel you lose. I don't know if it's media. I don't know propaganda wins a war. What wins a war? The actual war? I don't know. We have no idea. But here's the thing. We have Leon Byrne, the MP of England, after Trump does this, and he gets up there and says, oh, we have to defend Ukraine because of democracy. Yo, stop it. Stop it. I don't want to talk about democracy if you shut down, you arrest people for Twitter and Facebook stuff for insensitive information. You've arrested people left and right for that. So don't talk about democracy, England, and the EU, the whole Europe, by the way. There's no democracy there. There's no freedom of anything. That's number one. Number two is he says that T-80s, whatever it's called, the tanks, that Russia's going to run out of it in April. You said Russia was going to run out in all these stuff. You said that right away. You said that Russia's not going to be able to withhold right away. I've heard that before. I've heard Ukraine though too. All I see right now, and by the way, I've argued with the guy Friday night and said about, oh, the money, where's the money? No one knows where the money is, and that's the president of Ukraine said that. And then he said I didn't read it. So you know what I did? I read it, and you know what he said? He said it in Ukrainian. So obviously he knew what he was saying, and he said he doesn't know where the money is. That was the president of Ukraine. And you could say there and all I want. By the way, I count my wins. I just wanted you to know who you are Friday night. I'm not going to say your name, but you know who you are. You argued with me. Okay? I won that one. Thank you. Thank you. That information was me. I won that information. You didn't. I looked that up. He said that. The president of Ukraine. Either he's lying and he's on a manipulative tour and he's propagandizing everybody, or he's right. Which one is it? So he propagandized me to believing it, so he's a liar trying to collect money, or you, or I won the argument. That's it. There's no other option here. So I'm just gonna say this, and then Trump says all this other stuff, and then you realize that nobody wants a ceasefire except for Donald, the president of the United States, right now. Now you could disagree with him and other things. Millions of people are dying. 18 to 30-year-olds that are dying. 20% of the country's done. And all these people just saying, oh, get another year, because the Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, says, the others, that an official in a different country said, we're going to have another year of war, of death, and all this other stuff, and it's going to weaken Putin more. Well, guess what? It hasn't. You know why it hasn't? Because all your sanctions that you say you just crippled the Russian economy is trash. Because every economy's trashed right now. The European economy's trashed. I see eggs in the store. It's garbage right now here. It's garbage right now. Donald Trump hasn't fixed it so fast. I'm just letting you know, all these Trump supporters. I'm going after everybody today. Everyone sucks today. Okay? Trump, all this other thing that he was going to fix this, he hasn't fixed it. Okay? Can he fix it in the future? Who knows? Time will tell. But here's the thing. You guys keep talking about that you did this and you guys keep talking about everything. Every side is getting their butts kicked. Russia's looking like embarrassment. But Russia, last time I checked, you said your economy's falling. Well, there aren't shortages in the supermarkets anymore. There aren't. People think there are. There aren't. And second of all, China's closer to Russia right now than they were before. And North Korea came out of nowhere to become friends with them. And you're going to say, well, their soldiers are dying too. Yeah, they sent them. But guess what? North Korea has a friend. And by the way, that's 2 nukes. That's 2 nuclear powers. China's a nuclear power. China has the most people in the world. Russia has the most territory in the world. And they're only adding on to it. And by the way, North Korea has nukes. A lot. They don't have one. They have a couple. So all these countries have a nuke behind them in defense. While you sit here and say, oh, let's continue to die. You guys want to die? Go die. And that's all I got to say. That's all I got to say. And all these people that are like going on each side and saying this and saying that, the only one guy wants to end this war in this situation. And you guys say he's an evil man because he wants to stop a war. This is where we're going right now in the world, by the way. If you want to stop a war, you're evil. Okay. Thank you. Have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow. Good for the passion. Subscribe to me, REF26 at on YouTube, and follow me on Rumble, REF26. PayPal me. Support me on PayPal and Zelle. Thank you.